First of all, thank you, Vijaya, for having me here this afternoon. It's a wonderful, wonderful evening. I never imagined when you talked to me that it'd be this nice. For the first time in so many years, after my grandfather passed away, I'm hearing Sanskrit. Okay? I mean, the last conversations I had was with my grandfather who used to make up stories for me so that I could learn Sanskrit. And, this is very nostalgic and an emotional moment for me as well. To understand that there is something called a Sanskrit medium school. I never imagined in my lifetime this would happen, but it's happening. I'll tell you a small story. I went to buy milk in Israel. What do you may think, what is the big deal about buying milk in Israel? Because my colleague and my ex-boss wanted 2% milk. After a lot of search, I found the number 2 in one of the cartons. In every shop, I went to 3 shops. Why am I telling you this story? In Israel, everything is in Hebrew. Everything is in Hebrew. The milk cannot be bought. I understood it's milk because there is a cow's photo on it. Okay, nowhere it said MILK. Now, why am I talking about Israel? Because, Vijaya, there is a precedence. Hebrew was a dead language in our, in all the, by all accounts. Today, it's a living language. I saw science being discussed in Hebrew. I saw biology being discussed in Hebrew. And there is a university which they proudly call Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And I was fortunate enough to go there and participate with some of the proceedings there. This can be done. So we can get Sanskrit to be something which is a living language again, which I think you have successfully achieved, because some young child like that speaking Sanskrit, gladdens my heart. I think it's on the way. We can do it. And Israel is a small country with only 10 million population. Of population, we have no problem. We have plenty of people. So we should be able to do it in greater strength. So why is this required? Why is Sanskrit required? This is, I think, a fundamental question that we all have to understand. Why is it that we need to re-establish the supremacy of a language which is essentially a difficult one? I'll have debates, I've participated, I've debated myself, why is it so complex, couldn't it have been simpler? Yes, there are simpler versions of Sanskrit available, which went by the name Prakrit, but Granthas are not written in Prakrit. They are written in Sanskrit. In fact, my fond theory, sir, you may not agree, is Kannada is a form of Marathi, and Kannada are a form of Prakrit of some sort. So what is it that makes Sanskrit better than other languages as a medium of instruction? For me, it's simply the structure of the language. It's impeccable. There is nothing which comes anywhere close, whether you take the Germanic language or whether you take, any other. English is, of course, absurdly unstructured. French is, at its peak. We don't even know. They omit half the things they write, especially if it comes at the end. Sometimes it is pronounced Javel as the L, whereas something else will not have the end letter. So all kinds of illogical stuff exists in most languages. So why is it the structure is important? Because the purpose of a language is to communicate. That is unambiguously what professor says, I must understand. That is the purpose of a language. And this cannot be fulfilled if there is ambiguity in the language. And that is the reason why we should have Sanskrit. Coming back, I'm an engineer, I build the future, I rarely go back. I'm not an archaeologist. But is there a reason for us to go back and study? I did find a reason when somebody told me, look, you talk so much about, my favorite author is Feynman. You talk so much about Feynman, you talk so much about this. Why don't you go and study this mathematician called Madhava? And I went and, was very pleasantly surprised to see and understand a few things about our schooling system. Mark Twain very famously said, if you want education, don't go to school. So Agastya Gurukula is certainly breaking that paradigm. Of that I'm sure. So what is the schooling system that we came through? It was what I call a teaching system, where people will say, Barkopa, yeah. Square root of C square is equal to A square plus B square. The Pythagoras theorem, Barkoli. There's no reasoning, there was no awakening of the mind. Whereas when I read books of Madhava, it awakened me because Madhava's works are never complete. They're in translation, by the way. And he stops at a certain point and asks you to figure out why the end result is there. Now, we cannot say this is all nonsense because whatever he has stated actually works. His end result is never wrong. So, therefore, he could have come to that with logic, but doesn't want to tell you simply because he wants you to learn. So, there is a difference in our systems. So, what the Gurukula system does is to evoke or invoke interest in a subject. The teacher's job is not to teach, it is to guide. Go on this path. I was very lucky in my life to have studied in such a university like Indian Institute of Science, which was like a Gurukula. Where we went, we learned ostensibly electrical engineering, but I was writing operating systems at the age when people didn't know what they were. And all this is because they taught us how to question everything, not to accept anything. So I believe that this Gurukula will do the same for its children. And somebody said, speak a few inspirational words. I'm saying I'm inspired. Right? I'm the one who's inspired. So thank you so much, Vijaya, for inviting me. It's a great occasion. And may the school prosper. And like the professor made the commitment, we are here to help you in whatever way we can. Thank you.